What's up, YouTube? Cap over here, and I've got a special guest. He's going to be the co-host of this podcast thing we're going to be doing weekly, as you guys really wanted it back. Now he can introduce himself, because I cannot say his name for the sake of me. For the sake of me.
What's up, everybody? This is Semeraro 22, or Zach, whatever you want to call me. Zach's easier. Semi is my nickname. Semeraro 22 is how you say it. I'm the head coach of the Kentucky Crowbats, and I'm a new member of the A-League, and I will be doing these podcasts with Cap.
Yep. I'm pretty excited. You guys know me. I'm Cap Swagablue, coach of the Toronto Staraptors, as you guys have followed me through Season 1 of the Reddit Battle League. And, yeah, so... so that's who we are. That's what's happening. And, there's going to be lots of new things happening in the A-League. And we're going to be introducing the B-League this season, which is really exciting because I think that's 12 new members, right? Something like that.
Well, it's more than that because I was supposed to be in B-League, and two other teams in A-League were in B-League, but they dropped out. So it's actually 15 new members, something like that.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy how quickly this thing has grown, and I'm really excited to see the B-League itself, but we should talk a bit about what's going to be new and what's going to be new in the A-League and the B-League. First of all, there's going to be a new draft, which I have no idea how that works. Luckily for me, I've got an expert over here. I've got the expertise over here. And there's going to be conferences, a bit like the GBA itself, which this RBL sort of originated from. So yep. I'll let Zach take over what the draft is going to look like, because if I were to say it, it would just be nonsense and embarrassing.
All right, first off, it's important to note that the draft pool is one full thing. B-League is drafting from the same pool of Mons as A-League. It makes it a little more interesting, a little more challenging for B-League, and you can see who are the really creative and talented coaches, because they're going to be using weird and things you don't see often. But just that's one important thing to make note. But the draft is literally a copy of the GBA draft. The only difference is the tiers that we have are Mons, and we kind of moved it around to try and fit enough Mons in each tier for 24 teams. So you get 1,000 points, and then you get 180 mega points to draft your mega. And what happens is we're going to be doing a mega round first. So you have 180 points to draft a mega. So that's OUA, OUB, Borderline, UU, and RU. But there's not. I think there's 3 total between RU.
That's right.
UU.
Get the Mega Dino in there. The Mega Dino get on in.
And what happens? Say I draft Mega. I don't know.
Alexam.
Well, I'm trying to think of a different example. Mega. Let's say Mega Bennett. Mega Bennett's UU. So it's only 80 points. By drafting Mega Bennett, I save 100 points that gets added to my 1,000-point total for the rest of the draft. So instead of just...
Not bad.
So instead, you get a crappier Mega, but you get 100 extra points in the main draft. And now, onto the main draft, you have 1,000 points. You're required to draft 1 Mon from each tier and have 11 Mons on... I think it's 11 Mons on your squad. How it works out is 1 Mon from each tier is a total of 600 points. 180 for OUA, 140 for OUB, 100 for Borderline, 80 for UU, 60 for RU, and 40 for NU, as you hear a little buzz. And that totals to 600. You subtract that from 1,000, and that is 400 total to build the rest of your team. Your last... what is it? I think it's 4 Mons. Yeah, because you get your Mega and your 6 from each tier, so that's 7 total Mons. You get 400 points plus whatever you get from saving on the Mega to build the rest of your team. I don't know if Cap is back yet. He's not back yet. I'm just going to stall a little bit. Crowbats are the best. And yeah. But actually, I'm going to go into the conferences and divisions anyway, since
I had some technical difficulties over here.
Okay.
I was dropping things. That's very unprofessional of me.
I was just trying to stall. I was like, I'm just going to go into divisions and conferences. But how much of that did you get, Cap? Because
I got a decent amount. Hopefully, it'll lead me off into when I go into the draft. I'm gonna have somewhat of an idea of what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, you can just rewatch it and you can basically ask for help as you draft. Just like message me. It's like, what do I do?
What can I draft? Don't worry, guys. This is gonna be your first time. This is gonna be my first time. It's gonna be horrendous.
Yes.
Horrendous.
And we're also introducing a new scheduling system, a new schedule that takes into account the new conferences and divisions. I'll go over Unova because that's the one I'm in. And you can go over Kanto if you have it pulled up. If you don't,
did you go over the B League yet?
Oh, I haven't. You're right.
Yeah, we should go into that just because it's sort of a nice flow, and I feel like the B League guys need a bit of love right now.
Real quick though, it's 2 conferences, 4 divisions, 3 teams in each division. B League is following the same thing, so just want to get that in there, so because it applies to B League as well. Go over the B League teams.
Yeah, there's the New York Kecleons, which is coached by Vades Wilkes Booth. I apologize if I say any of these names wrong. I'm really bad at pronouncing stuff, as you guys have noticed. We've got the Oakland Typhlosions. They actually opted to go down into the B League and hone their skills. The Oakland Typhlosions are coached by Fuck the System Softly. Beep. We've got the Chicago Bear Arctics, coached by Speed Jacob. The Miami Heatmores, coached by Warriors. Baltimore Rabias?
Star Arabia.
Coached by Mighty Quinn 630. Or 630, whatever you want to call it. The Toronto Chestnuts, coached by Planets Jive Money.
Stealing your city.
There's enough love to go around in Toronto. We've got the Zagreb Zangoose, coached by Zelda himself. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Coached by Elvery. We got the Philadelphia Alligators, coached by Elinko. The Tacoma Tyrannotars, coached by... This is pretty simple. Totoro.
Is Tacoma in Oklahoma?
Tacoma could be in Washington.
It's gotta be. I don't know. I'm dumb. I gotta Google this. I'm gonna be a social studies teacher, and I don't know where Tacoma is.
There's one Tacoma in Washington, right below BC, I do believe. I don't know if that's the one he's talking about, though.
It's Washington. I'm dumb.
All right.
Excuse me.
I know my geography. Anywho, we've got the Colony.
I think it's. Yeah. Well.
We got the Cloisters.
Yeah, it's spelled Cologne.
Cologne.
But I don't.
I feel like it's pronounced weirdly.
Yeah, that's why it's. Let's Google that too.
Though the Cloisters are coached by old account not usable, but it's actually usable. He's using it right now as we speak. Something like that. So those are the what? How's it pronounced?
I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know.
All right. Old account not usable. If you can dumbify this name of yours that has stumbled us, please feel free to put it in the comments down below, because I don't want to keep on going on to this podcast and be like, well, today I'm just going to pronounce just Cloisters. There we go.
I'm going to call them the double C's for now.
The double C's. And we've got the double C's in the runnings. Good old double C's. Anywho, those are the B League members. I'm really excited to see them because I've battled a bit of them and they look mighty rough, mighty tough, mighty scary. Don't want to go in.
Quick input. I pick Vade to win the B League.
Quick input. I pick. I'm gonna say Zelda.
Zelda. A close second to me.
Zelda or Fuck the System Softly will redeem himself.
He does have that experience.
Yes, he does, and I feel like that's gonna really contribute to Fuck the System Softly's success in the B League. So watch out for him. But we're just gonna go right into the A League and sort of go in the conferences itself, then each division.
Yeah.
So do you want to start it off with your Unova?
Yeah, I'll go over Unovas, you go over Kentos, and we'll rotate. But in
Sounds good.
Unova, we have the first division, which, like I said, it's 4 divisions, 2 in each conference, 3 teams in each division, which is 6 in each conference, just covering every basis there. In the white division, we have the San Francisco Giraffe Rigs, which is coached by the Jewish Giraffe, he created this league. I was going to ask, but I know for a fact he did. And then we have the California Crawdonts, coached by Etherian Knight. Yes, Etherian Knight.
There you go. I got that name down.
And then the third team in the division is one of the new call-ups from the B League, and that's the Markarth Magikarps, which is coached by, again, somebody I don't have the direct name to.
I do believe he is Dragonite.
Yes.
Or Spam Dragonite, something like that.
Man, I need to find this page. I've been
Dragonite
struggling.
Spam.
Yes,
there we go.
You're correct. Oh, I have the page now. No, that's B League. But yes, that is the white division. See, I made the schedule and I put together the divisions. The divisions were kind of random. What it was is we had when I started the divisions and schedule, I had 5 teams that were confirmed. So I threw in Carolina, Minnesota, San Francisco, me, and California. Those are the only confirmed teams. And I put me, San Fran, Cal, and Carolina all in our own divisions, except one division had 2. And then from there, as I added teams, I knew I had to just mix it up because it was kind of looking ridiculous. So,
and then there's the black division. These guys are.
Oh, I was going to have you go over.
Red,
the
red
or
division?
blue.
All right, I'll go in the Kanto division, which is the red division. They're coached by the Carolina Pyroars. Carolina.
Yes, that is, and that's the Atlanta Braviaries. This season, they're just changing.
They
their
got
name.
bought out.
They straight up bought out. They
got straight up bought out.
Like, we're just gonna drop this name.
It wasn't Mr. Sir Grape that could have kept him in. He did buy the team, but Miss Grape sort of took him. There was some drama going on. Of course, we've got the Minnesota Eon Twins, and yours, of course, the Toronto Staraptors. So that's a scary, scary division.
Yes.
I'm going to say that's out of the league itself. It looks like this is the group of death.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm really scared.
That is a tough division. And basically, what was going to happen, it was either going to be the white division that was the toughest or the red division. It just depended. Honestly, it depended on where you ended up at, because you were the last. You and the Markarth were the last 2 teams that I put into the randomizer, and it popped you out first, and that put you in the red division.
Lucky me. But I'm excited. I got a lot of redemption to go with this, because I did lose to both of these teams. So
now you got to play them 4 total times.
Yeah, I got some work ahead of me. But we'll move on to the black division, because we could go on for quite some time about this red division.
Black division. First off, it's the Kentucky Crowbats, yours truly. Then we have the Tennessee Toxicroaks, coached by, where is it?
He's coached by the Flying Skulls.
Yes, Flying Skull. I actually had that one, and you just didn't give me time. Jerk. No, I'm just kidding. And then we have Cap's partner in crime, his brother, the Dallas Starmies. So
should be.
I'm excited for those games. I'm definitely excited for those games.
The newcomer and 2 veterans of the RBL.
Oh yes, and I'm also up from B League. I'm one of the 3 teams, so that's Markarth, me, and then in the following division there's one more.
Yeah. In the blue division, which is the Kanto Conference, we've got the Gallant Gallades, the Marshall Thundering Bouflants, and the Bavarian Beedrills. And I'm interested in that league just because at the end I didn't see the Gallant Gallades a lot. I was supposed to battle them, but I didn't get a chance. That didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And the Marshall Thundering Bouflants are, of course, the newly promoted B League team. And, of course, we've got the Bavarian Beedrills, which are in the finals right now.
Taking on the Braviary /Pyroars.
Yeah, so in all honesty, I feel like the Bavarian Beedrills have the potential to just advance once again in the playoffs, just because they made it into the finals. They made it into the finals, and they're coached by Alex Louis, which is a great battler and a really awesome guy.
No one knows this, but I've played my cousin. That Marshall Thundering Bouffalance is my cousin. I think he has the potential to play upset. Because when he gets like sinks his teeth into something, he like commits and he builds crazy stuff. And so if he can like, sometimes he gets a little too crazy with what he builds. So if he can reel it in a little bit, I think he could do some damage.
Yeah. I guess we can sort of go with what we're predicting in terms of the power rankings, or we can even just talk a bit about the division itself.
Yeah.
Of course, there's two scary divisions. I feel like, of course, it's the red division and the white division.
Yeah, those are definitely the two divisions that the toughest competitors look like they'll come out of. Obviously, nothing is set in stone. But, I mean, the Giraffe Rigs, the Eon Twins, the Pyroars, and the Beedrills, who aren't in white division, were all playoff teams. But you and Crawdons were the first two teams. Like, you guys just missed the playoffs. So that's 5 of the 6 teams in those two divisions that were on the cusp of making the playoffs and getting in. So it's definitely, those are definitely the two top divisions, I would say, just by preseason before the draft and everything.
Yeah, just in terms of personnel and whatnot, the star power in that is pretty nuts. But I also feel like the black division is going to be something to watch out for, and so is the blue division. The Dallas Starmies are going to be a team to look out for, just not because I'm saying he's my partner in crime, but if you've seen some of his past, like his final battles in the A-League itself, in the RBL, he took down Ethereumite with a team that was perhaps UU.
Yeah.
And he simply outplayed Ethereumite, and he was just catching so much fire at the end. I feel like he's going to carry that momentum and just perhaps play a bit of a Cinderella story going on in there. I feel like that's what might happen, and I'm really looking forward to the Dallas Starmies itself. But I'm also looking forward to the new guys and seeing what they can do, especially the Mark Arthur Magikarps. Not only because they have an awesome name, but just because Dragonite Spam is a good battler. He's a really good battler.
And you can't forget Magikarps are power. Like, of all the teams, the Toxicroaks, the Crobats, the Starmies, the Lotties, the Pyroars, there's the Magikarps just sitting, flailing.
Hey.
Always looking to murder.
When you least expected it. Murder. And, so that's sort of my what I think about the division itself.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think if I had to pick a winner in each division real quick, it's kind of hard to do without knowing the teams and there being so many new teams and me catching only like the last part. I would say in the first, it's going to be so close in the red division. Like, it's not even funny because the Pyroars, they're in the finals, but they're I think the record difference between you guys was like it wasn't
one.
that. It was
one.
Yeah, it was like 1. So it's not like he's in the finals and like swept everybody and it was a 1 game difference. And the Eon Twins, same thing. And obviously I think Carolina beat the Eon Twins in the playoffs to get to the finals.
I think it was the Bavarian Beedrills.
Oh no, you're right. Because but okay, well then the Carolina beat the Giraffe Rigs, who were the number 1 team, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah, so it like. Obviously, it's week to week. Anyone can beat anybody in this format. It's because you know what the other team's going to run. It's just a matter of preparing and making correct predictions. So if I had to pick a winner in the red, it's literally a 33% chance for everybody. I'm just going to lean towards Carolina just because they're in the finals right now.
Yeah. I don't want to predict anything.
It's your division.
It's way like I want to say I'm going to win the division, but the teams themselves are so good. Yeah. And that's like Minnesota can easily win, so can the Pyroars, and we have an equal chance. So I can't say there's any clear-cut one.
Yeah, that's why I just gave the Pyroars the nod, because they're in the finals right now. I'm just like, sure, that I'll make that the deciding factor. In the white division, just because I've never seen Markarth battle, like Dragonite spam battle or anything, I'm not really considering him. And plus, the Giraffe Rigs are the #1 team in the league. So I think it's a 2-horse race in that division. Not that Markarth can't, the Magikarps can't make a splash, no pun intended. But I think I would give it to the Giraffe Rigs, not in a blowout fashion, but I just feel confident because they're going to have a high mega pick, as well as Carolina and the Bavarian Beedrills. And like Minnesota, San Francisco, Carolina, and Bavarian will each have the top 4 picks, and then I think it's the Crawdons, then you, and then after that it's random. Actually, no, the Blades are in there.
I think it's like Tennessee Toxicroaks and then Crump
it's basically the mega rounds go by how you finished, and then the new guys are randomized. I think
makes sense. I think I want to say the Markarth and Magikarps will be the surprise, the upset of this new format. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna predict them to get the #1 spot.
Okay.
But I also predict the White Division will be the place to look for the wild card.
Yeah.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
All right.
It's just way too good of a division.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. Can just not even without even taking Markarth into the thing. And like I said, I know nothing about them, so I'm not knocking them. I just don't know. So just from looking at San Francisco and California being in there, I could definitely see the wild card from coming out of there. Yeah. But the next division is the Blue Division, and this is my sleeper pick, and I think the Blue Division is surprisingly going to be where the wild card comes from in the Kanto Conference, because I just think that you guys in the Red Division are going to ravage each other, like murder each other's records, and only one of you is going to come out on top, and the others are just going to be so hurt from the division battles, like that the Blue Division might have a shot at slipping in their wild card. And I think the winner of the division will be the Bavarian Beedrills, but I think the wild card is going to be the Bouffalants, because I've seen him battle a lot, and he's just my cousin's good. He's very good at Pokemon.
Yeah, my prediction's pretty much the Bavarian Beedrills too. They're coached by a really good coach, and I don't really see an upset in that.
Yeah.
So
I want to say
I still want to say the wild card will go to the Red Division. Hopefully we won't kill each other.
It's kind of just my that's my little sleeper. I think you guys are going to hurt each other more than help each other. And then the Bouffalants will be able to slip in. I do think the Beedrills won't lose the division at all. Black Division, I don't really want to make any predictions because it's my division. But if I had to pick a team, I would say the Toxicroaks, probably, without picking myself, even though I will win the division. I think the Toxicroaks probably have I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I think the Toxicroaks do have the edge, though, with the experience, and they didn't have a bad season, but they didn't have a great season, but they do have the experience in the league, and battling everyone else. They kind of know what they like to bring, and while he's never battled me, I've never battled him either, and I also I've battled you once. I've battled Jewish Giraffe once. I think those are the only 2 people besides my cousin I've battled in like 1-on-1 6v6 battles in A League. I've battled Vade as well, but he's in B League.
I think the Dallas Starmies will take this division, just because, like I said, their end season performance was really good. They end up getting like a win streak of 3 or 2. Mm-hmm. In their last 4 games, and the only reason that they lost was because it was against myself. And we wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, I like the Starmies' chances just because, like, as much as I know about the draft and how much research I've been doing, I've never fought in this format before. When I build teams in 6v6, I always try and like emulate this format. Like people are like, oh, I'm looking for OU battles. I'm like, okay, and then I bring in NU and RU, like 2 UUs and an OU. Like, I don't just, when someone asks me for an OU battle, I don't just bring straight power. So I've played with the lower tier mons in combination with the upper tier mons, but I still have never like drafted and played in this format.
Yeah. It's a brand new, it's a new monster when you go in this league. and it becomes it's a unique experience that I definitely like and enjoyed.
Yeah.
But I think we can sort of go into the power rankings itself after the division things and stuff. So do you want to say your list? Maybe we can get a little disagreement going on.
How about we trade off our 11s and then our 10s? Do you think that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
Real quick, we did not include ourselves in our own rankings. Like I have 11 teams, not including myself, and he has 11 teams, not including himself. I think that's what I did. I don't know.
That's what I did.
Okay,
too.
I was like, we knew we weren't including ourselves. I just don't know how he did it. Number 11, and again, I'm emphasizing this. This is solely on me not knowing anything about him. I have the Markarth Magikarps just because they weren't in the league last year. I've never seen anything on them. He could be the best battler out of all of us, and I'm just the only person who doesn't know. So if it needs to be corrected and everyone else in the league is like, wow, you're dumb, let me know. But I just have him here because I've never seen him battle. He wasn't in the league last year. There's nothing to go on, and he's in the second toughest division.
My number 11 is actually the Martial Thundering Bouffalant, coached by the admin Espeons, and that's just because my first 3 teams are the newly promoted V-League members, and I have nothing to really base my opinion on other than battling them once or twice, maybe.
And real quick, I want to point out that the Bouffalants have the toughest schedule to start the season the first 2 weeks as they play the B-Drills and the Pyre Wars back-to-back.
Yeah, so we're going to see a lot in that opening week. We're going to see a lot from the VLAN.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I actually get to play your brother week 1, so that's going to be fun. My number 10 is the Gallant Gallades. Again, this is more based on I only watched like the last week or 2 of battles because I didn't really feel like going back and looking through the friend codes and all that because I joined in the last like 3 or 4 weeks. But just he finished with 3-8 differential, and I know it's a tough league, but he's in a tough, like in my mind, probably the third toughest division out of 4, because knowing the Bouffalants a little better, I know they're very good at battling, even if they don't bring the best strategy, they work around it, and of course the B-Drills team in the finals. So I have the Gallant Gallades. I think they have plenty of room to go up. I don't think they're going to stay at 10, but just based on everything, I have them slotted at 10.
My number 10 spot is the Kentucky Crowbats, coached by yours truly on the opposite end. Once again, I don't really have a lot to base my opinion on, so I cannot say a lot.
He's just mad because I beat him in the one battle we had. I don't know if he even remembers.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why.
You brought your RBL team. I didn't know at the time. You brought a version of your RBL team, and I brought I think I brought Heatran, Thundurus, Gudra, Mega Heracross, and Drapion, and maybe Crobat. I don't know.
I don't remember that.
But yeah, I watched the battle the other day, actually, or yesterday, because I was so pumped watching battles. Like, I got to do something with my hands right now. But yes, I definitely could see me being this low, depending on how. I know you're not doing it based on how bad I could possibly do. You just don't know. You have nothing to go on. And but I could definitely see if I start off rough. I could see me slipping this low just because of me being new to the format and not being used to preparing and having people be able to prepare somewhat for me. I'm used to just going in blind and then hitting and just having to figure it out at the menu. So it has its advantages and disadvantages. At number 9, I have the Bouffalants. It's kind of a tie here. It's not number 9, number 8. It's like tied for 8 or 9. But I have the Bouffalants just below the Starmies because of the experience and in this format and stuff. I think the Bouffalants will have a slightly better season than the Starmies, but I don't think it's going to be this huge gap. But I think both the Starmies and Bouffalants are going to have a nice season, but just based on division schedule and how the Starmies overall did last season, even though they had a better year, I kind of have it tied for 8 between the Bouffalants and Starmies.
My number 8th spot is going to go to the Markarth Magikarps, coached by Dragonite Spam, just because I feel like out of all of the newly promoted B-League members, I feel like he might have the upper edge. And once again, this is just one battle. So correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to argue the point. My feelings won't get hurt, but that's, like I said, I don't have a lot of information to base my rankings from 11 to 8.
All right. Like I said, my 8-9 were kind of just tied. It was a slight edge for the Starmies just because of experience and that they kind of went on that run late season. But it's I pretty much don't really have an 8 or 9. It's like 11, 10, tied for 9, then 7.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I guess my number 7
8.
spot, 8 spot will go to the Tennessee Toxicroaks, coached by Flying Skull. Just because later on in late game, he did go against a lot of the tougher opponents, and even then, he struggled to keep up with them.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is just basing off like the later runs and stuff and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But
their form at the end of the year.
Their form at the end of the year wasn't looking that sharp and up to edge. But luckily, he did finish the league and is joining us for season 2. So feel free to prove me wrong. I'd gladly rank him up higher if he can prove me wrong.
Yeah, I have the Tennessee Toxicroaks at 7. They were 5 and 6. They just, again, I only caught the last couple weeks of the season, but just looking at what I saw from everybody else, they were slightly they seemed a little bit behind the curve, but they still finished 5 and 6. They still did pretty well, and there's definitely in this format room to go up. So it's not out of the realm for them to go up, but I do think there's a mildly large, not large gap, but a relatively moderate gap between the 7 through 11 and 1 through 6.
My number 7 spot was going to go to the Gallant Galates, coached by Dally Tete, just because when we went in the draft, he sort of drafted a common weaknesses, but he did play towards that, and he really baited the fighting moves to come in his way, and he would counter those things.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, later on in the season, as it went, he didn't really show up, so I'm a bit worried about the discipline action on Dally Tete himself, and that's why he's ranked a bit lower.
Yeah.
So if he stays disciplined and whatnot, then he's going to do really awesome, but if he doesn't, then he might just keep going down in the power rankings.
Yeah. That's definitely something to take into consideration. At 6, that's when you start seeing the playoff teams, or the contender, like the people that could really make the playoffs. I have the California Crawdons. Just looking at everything, taking everything into consideration, they did just as well as the Swagablue, and they technically had the better record because they had one less game played, I think. That wasn't counted. I'm not sure how that worked out. I'm confused about that. I don't know. But I have him at 6 just because I have more information on Cap. I've played Cap once. It was a very tough game. I did win, but it that was probably the toughest 6v6 battle I've had, besides with my cousin, and me and my cousin usually tell each other our teams, so it makes it a little easier for those games to be tough. But I feel like they in their situation have a shot to shoot up the power rankings.
Mine's actually a Theory Knight too, for I believe that's number 7 or 6. I'm losing track over here.
6.
The California Crawdons, and that's just because earlier on in the season he was basically an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
There's perhaps the best team, but as the season went on, he started to lose matches, and I sort of felt like that sort of played a lot in his mindset.
Yeah.
He was getting a bit worried, and he might have been busy with life itself, but even then, when at the point the last place team takes advantage of that, then you know you're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But I know he can also be a really good battler, and at some points you can't really stop him. So
Yeah.
that's why I ranked him below the Dallas Starmies themselves. But like I said, at the end of the season, he was losing a lot of footing, and he had the number 1 spot, but he went all the way to number 5, and
then missed.
that sort of played a huge role on how I ranked him.
Yeah, slipping out of the playoffs after having such a dominant run can be. It depends on how you view it. I definitely took that as a negative, from being the top team and to losing that spot and missing the playoffs just by the skin of his teeth. At number 5, I have the Toronto Staraptors. Just again, I had a little more information on them because we had the one match and it was a very tough battle. I've watched every single one of his battles.
Thank you.
Just because obviously it's a very entertaining video to watch, but it's easy to watch. Like, you just go to his channel, it's there. I don't have to type in a code or anything. And so just watching the videos, the preparation he has for each match. There obviously everybody's going to have some mistakes throughout the year, and there were some like just mistakes. It's not a huge deal. Everyone has them. If someone was perfect,
they would dominate this league.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They would win because they would just wall everything you did because they knew what was going to happen. But the only reason he's not higher up is obviously because I kind of feel like
the playoff teams.
It's the playoff teams, yeah. But I kind of feel like San Francisco and the B-Drills have the easiest shot to be up because they're not in such a hard division. And I'm not doing this based on what the final records will be. I'm doing it based on the coaches more so, and that's why in the top 5 I have one whole division. But in real life, that's not going to happen because one of these teams in this division have to have a mild to bad record, just because numbers. That's how it works out. Like, they'll have to be even or 1 win over 500 or 1 win below 500 just for it to make sense. But in the top 5, I do have the whole red division.
That's nuts. That's pretty nuts. But my number 5 spot goes to the Dallas Starmies, which is coached by Nub64 or Crump himself. Just because his late season form was looking really good. It's pretty simple. Out of the past records or the final bits of the weeks of the RBL, he went on quite a killer run, beating a lot of teams and just losing out to myself. And I felt like when he puts the time and preparation into it, he is one of the top contenders in the league. A lot of his games also went like 1-0 and he barely lost. So like I said, that's why he gets my number 5 spot. And that's why he's also ranked above the California Crawdons, just because his late season form looked so good, and I think he's going to carry that momentum in.
Yeah, and like I said, I have very limited information because I missed all but like the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season, so like I didn't know about the close games. Otherwise, I probably would have had the Starmies clearly above the Bouffalants. I saw records, I saw divisions, I saw schedules, and was like, okay, let's do that. But at number 4, I have the Minnesota Eon Twins. And I don't know their record from the first season. I know it was good enough to make the playoffs. I don't know their record because it wasn't.
I think they were 7-2 or 8-2 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So 8-2, 8-3, something. I can't. The records aren't on the post. The playoff teams are just, hey, you're in the playoffs. But I can't knock them for being in the playoffs. I can't like look at the division like, oh, they're in the division with a team that almost made the playoffs and a team that's in the playoffs, so it's gonna hurt them. I can't do that and then go and say Cap was almost in the playoffs and these two teams were like almost out of the playoffs. You just can't do that. So that's why I have it like this. I think the Eons wins, just like Cap and just like the Pyroars, could make a very scary run. They could easily, it could easily be, just based on the division games alone, could be one of the best teams in the league to one of the more average teams in the league. Not because they're bad or even having a bad year, but because we're playing 13 games this season, which means we're playing everyone in the league plus our division members twice each. So 4 losses isn't going to kill you, but you're not going to win the division with 4 division losses. You would have to win the wild card at 9-4.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's tough. It's rough.
If you lose 4 games in the division, I feel like you're not going 9-4 just from you're gonna have a negative mindset. It's like, wow, I can't beat my division. And then you also got to take into consideration they're going to be playing the B drills and the giraffe rigs as well as the crawdons. So it's not just 4 tough games. It's 7. It's 7 tough games. So definitely, it's definitely going to be interesting. But I think of the playoff teams, I think the Eon Twins are the lowest one, but they're the best of the worst. They're the worst of the best, I should say.
My number 4 spot will be going to the San Francisco Giraffes, coached by your boy, the Jewish Giraffe. That's right, the creator of this league. Just because they went against the Atlanta Braviaries and they lost to them. Like, it was a really close match. It was really tight, but I'm gonna be a bit critical on this, but when the situation changed, it seemed like the Jewish Giraffe couldn't. The Jewish Giraffe seems to have a problem breaking down walls.
Okay.
For example, when I battled him, or when Ethereal Knight battled him, he couldn't break down the Slowbro, and he didn't break down both the Slowbros actually, the Mega Slowbro and the Slowbro. He did break out the Mega Slowbro, but he didn't break down the Slowbro, but he had problems with it. And Mr. Sir Great brought in the Cresselia, and he couldn't break that down.
Yes. If you watch the battle, you can see he was struggling to find an answer to knock that thing out.
And especially since I think the Atlanta Braviaries were the lowest ranked team, and that was sort of the upset there. Yeah. That's why he does get the number 4 spot on the power rankings. The Jewish Giraffe is a great battler. Nothing, you can't take that away from him. He's an awesome battler, but I think he's just gonna have to find that extra step in breaking down the walls. Mm-hmm. Perhaps it was just the mons that he didn't bring in, or he wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah,
but
it's a matter of predicting and preparing.
Yeah,
and I mean, I understand the need to or wanting to change your team up, and I didn't watch the second battle of their series. I only watched the first and the third because I didn't want to watch 2 parts for one battle. But I feel like, again, I don't know what he brought in the second battle, and he lost the second battle. I feel like in a series like that, I don't know if I think the playoffs are changing a little bit too. I think they're adding either 1 or 2 wild card. I don't know from each side, but I feel like, and I don't know if we're doing series again or if it's just going to be a 1 game thing, but I feel like if he had so much success in that first game, I think he won 5-0.
Yeah, it was like a 4-0 or a 5-0.
Why change that? Something. Why change that if you just went 5-0 with that team?
Mind you, it was a much closer battle than what the score appeared. But just because his team was worn down to the red, and Mr. Sir Grave had the rocks up, so a lot of his mon was actually death fodder.
Okay.
So it was a much closer score than what the actual score appeared.
I look at it, and he was in a position where he had a lot of death fodder, but he was also in a position where he carried
a lot of momentum.
Yeah, he had them on the ropes, and I understand change it up for game 2, but you lost game 2, so why not go back to what worked? And he didn't, and it was a close battle. It was a 1-0, and it came down to the last 2 mons for each team, but he couldn't get the flinch hacks that he needed, and he ended up losing. So I forgot if I even said my rankings, but that's why I have him at number 3 behind the Power Wars and the B-Drills.
Well, that sort of explains the number 3 spot. My number 3 spot actually goes to the Minnesota Eon Twins. That's coached by Joseph, number 6. He was battling the Bavarian B-Drills, and that was probably one of the most entertaining matches that I've watched throughout the whole RBL, because I have watched a couple battles, and nothing about this battle was short of boring. It was was a great battle played by two really great players, and I think it was only honestly the crit on a rock slide, which did probably 20 more or hit points than it normally would, really changed the match. And when it comes to just getting a crit on a Hippowdon, that's pretty crazy. The match could have gone either way. Yeah. Minnesota Young Twins prepared for what the Bavarian Beedrills were going to bring, and that's why they're ranked number 3. Their preparation, the coach himself, and I just feel like it's a lot better than it's better than the Jewish Giraffe's preparation.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was a really close battle between two really great battlers.
Yeah. And I want to say this now. I don't know. I've said it like 500 times, but I have very little information regarding like the battles that got them here, and I've only like skimmed the playoff matchup videos between the Beedrills and the Eon Twins. I did watch them, but I wasn't really like locked in like I was with the Giraffe Rigs, just because I wasn't doing anything else with them. I watched the Giraffe Rigs ones, but at 2 I have the Pyroars, and that's because, like he said, they were the lowest seed going in to the into the playoffs, and they did pull off the upset. They did beat the one of the, I don't know if they were the top team, but I think they were. They beat the Giraffe Rigs. They took advantage. They went down 1-0, but they stuck with it. They just kept battling, and then they won 2-0 and 1-0 in the last 2 battles. I think it might have been 1-0, but he never gave up. He just kept going. He took advantage of Giraffe Rigs. I don't want to say mistakes, but he took advantage of the changes that Giraffe Rigs tried to make from battle to battle, and now the Pyroar Braviaries are in the final.
Mine's number 2 is also Mr. Sirgrave, the Pyroars, or the Atlanta Braviaries, or whatever you want to call them right now. Just because they're from the end of the season. Well, they had a rough start at the beginning of the RBL, but throughout the season they really kept on pushing for that playoff spot, and when it mattered the most, they got into the playoffs and they got into the finals, and they sort of just they really pulled together and really pushed towards the finals in themselves, and that's incredible to see. And I think Mr. Sirgrave might be just one of those playoff teams that when they get into the playoffs, they're in the playoffs and they're gonna take a run for the finals.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm actually going to let you do number 1 first, because like I said, you have more insight, you have a little bit more information like this time around. Once the season actually gets going and I watch the videos as they happen, I'll definitely be contributing a lot more as far as in-depth analysis. But I'm going to let Capier take the number 1 team, and then I'll give it a little bit of spice. Yes.
All right. There's nothing but love for the Bavarian Beedrills, coached by Alex Louis. He gets my number 1 spot just because it's really fascinating to see. I battled this guy before the RBL, and I knew he was a great battler because I got excited when I battled him. I got pretty excited, and I was like, oh man, that was a good battle. I got to upload that. But whenever I battled the Bavarian Beedrills, it's always a super close match. Super close. And the Bavarian Beedrills week 1 lost to me. Mm-hmm. I believe it was a 2-0 or something, and they've done nothing but improve in the RBL. They had the big threat that they had I think the only thing that wasn't a mega, the Gyarados one of the top mons to get the one of the top KOers. Yeah. KOers. The Bavarian Beedrills really prepared for each battle, and they stuck to what worked in game 1 in the finals. And that was they kept the same Pokemon, and even though the Minnesota Young Twins did adjust and knew that he had to bring something else, the Bavarian Beedrill stuck to their game plan, and they really executed that game plan. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't anything that was super different. It was just they had a game plan, they stuck to it, and that's how they came out of that narrow 1-0, 2-0 victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any more to add, or?
No, that's just nothing but love. Nothing but love for the Beedrills.
Match 1. had two big plays by the Beedrills. And one play wasn't in their control, but on turn 9 of match 1, there was double crits. The Slow King got a Psyshock off and it crit the Gyarados. And I was like, oh no. But then Gyarados came right back and critted the Slow King and took the Slow King out. And I thought that was, it was pretty big because I thought that he was in trouble at that point because I was like, oh no, the Gyarados just got crit. Oh crap. But then Gyarados like, nah, I don't take any of that and fire back his own. And then the preservation of Breloom. You saw Breloom for 2 turns. The first turn and the last turn. Or 3 turns. First turn, second turn. And he preserved it. It got down to its focus sash early. He preserved it. He brought it in on the last turn and won with a Mach Punch. And he just kept, instead, the reason I think that's such a big deal is because he could have easily been like, wow, I need a free switch and I need Death Fodder, and could have easily brought in and not blinked twice, and I wouldn't have blinked twice, but instead he kept it around, brought it in, and it cleaned up at the end.
Like I said, man, he has a game plan and he sticks to it.
I can tell you right now, in that battle, I more than likely would have at some point sacked off that Breloom for a free switch in.
At no point would I have kept a Breloom against an Entei. At no point.
Yeah. Like, I would have been like, yeah, Breloom's nice, but this is a close battle. I need momentum. I'm just going to get this free switch in. But that's why he's in the final. Me, I haven't been in the league because I definitely would not have won that match because Breloom would have been gone. So I liked both those plays. Well, I guess the first one wasn't really a play, just a crazy moment with the double crits. But that keeping that Breloom alive was really impressive. And that's kind of what sealed the number 1 spot for me. I was kind of flip flopping. I was at one point I had Giraffarigs 1 and then Beedrills 2, Power Wars 3, and then I switched it. I was like, well, Giraffarigs lost. Power Wars 1, Beedrills 2. And I was like, yeah, but Beedrills were the higher seed coming into it. And so I settled at like 5 minutes before we even started this section. Like, we were still doing the thing. I was like, you know what? Because I had Giraffarigs 2, Power Wars 3. I was like, I think I need to switch that. So I ended up like 5 minutes before we talked about it having the Power Wars 2, Giraffarigs 3. But
once again, this is purely based on no teams. This is just based on personnel itself. Feel free to comment down below on if you disagree with us, put on your own power rankings and give us a decent in-depth of why you think that team belongs there. You can tell us we're wrong and we're idiots, but
yeah, that's totally, because like I said, I've watched the playoffs and I've watched like 2 regular season battles for like 3 teams and all the Swag of Blues battles, but he sucks. So no, I'm just kidding.
Some harsh mojo there.
No, man, I'm just joking. But like I said, I have very little. But our lists were kind of close. The only real difference was the Galates and Starmies. You had them higher, I had them lower. But yeah. But
I feel like those are the teams that really were on the borderline of being different and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, we could be wrong, you could be right. We still haven't drafted any teams, so
that's happening in 3 days.
That is happening on June 21st for people out in Europe. I guess you guys are one day ahead of us or something.
It's weird. I think it's like 4 o'clock in the morning there or 3 o'clock in the morning there right now. So technically it's 2 days and my birthday there.
Yeah. So I guess we can sort of sum it up over here. I'm really excited about the A League starting up and the B League.
I can't wait. Like
making its debut.
I'm losing my mind waiting right now. I've got... Like I said, I think I was talking to you in a free-for-all, and I was mentioning I have a page of like 100 mons written down, and I have each mon in each tier ranked, and next to them I have what they could ever possibly do. So like I have Sylveon written down at some point. I'm not revealing where I have it written down, what rank, but I have like Special Attacker, Special Wall, Cleric, Pain in the Ass. Like I have like a whole list, and then I have what I want for my team. I'm prepared.
I sort of been taking a break. I've been doing these stuff. I've been looking at Pokemon and whatnot, but
well, I mean, I think if you have a general idea of team building, you're roughly going to be fine. It's the only thing is in this format you need to kind of know your lower tier mons. And I'm lucky enough to know I mainly stay in NU, RU, and UU.
And that's what I'm really excited about. I know some of these battlers are really good at the OU and UU tier. but you can't bring the same set of mons every week, day on and just every day. You're gonna have to change it up. You're gonna have to bring in your lower tiers, and I think whoever can adjust to that, who can balance the OU to the NU. will be the most successful team out there.
And I want, when it comes to the draft, I want people who like in the league and anyone who else who may watch to know that you don't have to draft an OUA with your first pick. More than likely you will, and it's completely understandable, but you have to look at value. Like, there's not a lot of great mons in Borderline, so you may want to grab a Borderline mon you like with your first pick, because there's better OUA mons and more OUA mons that are good than in Borderline. So you may think, wow, I could grab the best Pokemon, Borderline Pokemon, and wait on the OUA, or I could grab the best UU mon. So when the draft happens, it's not just going to be OUA for the first 2 rounds, then like OUB, then it's not going to go like that at all. Like, someone may want to take their 6 tiers first, then build, so you could see an NU mon in like the 5th or 6th round. You just never know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a unique strategy to go into it. We'll definitely see what happens. Because I'm excited.
I can tell you, I'm considering 4 different tiers for the first round right now, so it just depends on how it falls and how the mega round falls. So yeah,
not bad. So I guess that sort of sums up once again. Zach's going to be joining me for the weekly podcast every week, and maybe next week we'll be getting some guests going on, and hopefully we'll get some teams to talk about themselves.
Yeah, I can definitely get the Bouffalants, and we might want to try and get a B League team or two. Not next week, but at some point get a B League or 2 team in here for some.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get some. We'll get all views from the league, and hopefully that works out.
Are we going to do a draft specific episode, like just us, me and you, going over each team's draft?
I'm not sure. We got to talk about that.
Okay, I was just kind of
do some planning.
I was just kind of throwing that out there.
We probably will, so look out for that video.
Kind of having them show interest in what they want to see, so they can comment down below. It's like, yeah, we would like to see that, but I mean, I really
leave
would
a
like
comment
to do
down
something
below
like that. So even if they are like, no, hell no, we don't want to see it.
Hell
like,
no,
well,
we don't like your voices.
Too bad. That would be really crappy. The 2 people out of 24 in the league that do YouTube, and they're like, no, we don't like you.
Sorry, you don't got the super nice voice. The one that makes me happy.
Next, I wonder what's going on Shady's channel.
Shady. Anywho, if you wanted to, sure to support noises. Be sure to check out Zach's channel. I'll put it in the description down below. Most of the podcasts will be on, I believe, my channel over here.
Yeah.
So be sure to check that out. We'll get a what?
Sorry, I thought you were done. Check out Cap in my own Pokemon series. Pick Your Poison Pokemon battles, and I don't know. I have so many episodes with Vade, but he'll be popping up roughly about week 1 or 2 of the actual RBL. Real quick, my channel, in case for some reason you can't copy and paste a link, and you are like an Audible learner, it's youtube.com/SEMERARO gaming, Semeraro Gaming. So I don't know why I feel like I need to say that, because you're going to have a link, but in case people are afraid of links, if they don't like them, if they're scary, it's okay.
They just enjoy the vocals, but that's okay. It'll be in the description down below for sure. And be sure to watch out for that. So I guess we're gonna end it off here. Well, firstly, I think the Bavarian Beedrills are gonna win the playoffs. That's all I've got to say.
I agree. I think the Beedrills will win. Is it 1 battle, or is it a best of 3 for the finals?
I think it's the best out of 3.
Okay, well, I think the Beedrills will sweep.
All right. You got our predictions over there, and we got to get going because it's been some time. It's been quite a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Cap signing off, and this is also Zach
signing off.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.